On the show today, we discuss lucid dreams, that special state when you know you're dreaming inside the dream. We tell you what different rooms in your house symbolize. And as always, we interpret the dreams you sent in during the week. And all the while taking your calls on 425-373-5527. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams and their meanings. I'm Susan Pullen, and with me in the studio is Heidi Brooke. Michael is taking a well-earned vacation and returns September 10th.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks to everyone who sent dreams to RadioShow at dream-analysis.com or to us through Facebook. You can get our contact details and archives of all previous shows on dream-analysis.com. Please continue to send them in, as we always need them for the show. If you've had a recent dream or one that's stuck with you over the years, feel free to call us. Again, the number is 425-373-5527. We do our best to get you the meanings and the answers. And today you can also call with questions for Heidi. She can channel information from your guides or loved ones who've passed on. And I'm also happy to field any life coaching questions you have on how to best act on the guidance from your dreams and move forward in your life. And one more time, the number is 425-373-5527. So today's symbol is what different rooms in the house mean. And last week we were having such a good time in the studio that we forgot to cover the promise symbol. So we're going to start off this week's with it. We didn't get any complaints for skipping the symbol, but Michael said that he's happy to read all your complaints. Just write them on a $20 bill and send them into the show. Each room in your house has a different function, and so this directly affects what they symbolize in your dream. It doesn't matter if the house in your dream is yours or someone else's. If you were listening a few weeks ago, we covered rule number 1 of dream interpretation, which is everything is me. Everything in the dream represents the dreamer. So even if it seems like your sister's house, the meaning of the rooms is still going to be the same. So as with any location in a dream, you can ask the question, what happens here? And the answer gives you the interpretation. So if you dream of a bathroom, your higher self is asking you to eliminate something. The something that you're being asked to eliminate is given by other symbols. So, for example, if another person is in the dream, it's asking you to eliminate negative conditioning that you've picked up, connected with that person, or with a parent of the same gender as that person. Taking a shower or using the toilet would mean the same thing, because the shower asks you to cleanse and the toilet asks you to eliminate. This is the metaphoric meaning of the bathroom, but if your attention in the dream is drawn to a problem with a physical structure, such as a blocked or cracked toilet, then the dream is about your physical elimination system. And again, other symbols in the dream will tell us more. If the toilet is blocked by a milk carton, for example, then you're being told that your body can't eliminate dairy properly, so you might want to cut dairy out of your diet. If the focus is on a mirror in the bathroom, the dream is asking you to eliminate something with regard to your reproductive system. And since a mirror reproduces an image of you, it's about your reproduction. So usually in these dreams, the dreamer is checking their teeth in the mirror. When we come out of the bathroom, we often find ourselves in a hallway or landing, and both of these locations in a dream indicate a state of transition. So we don't stay in a hallway or landing very long. We just use them on our way to somewhere else. So these are typically good in a dream and indicate that we're making progress. The kitchen is another common location in dreams and symbolizes your digestive system. Again, it's obvious when you consider that we prepare and often eat our food in the kitchen. Other symbols will tell us why we're dreaming of our digestive system, like milk boiling over on the stove tells us that we're intolerant of dairy. And yes, I'm picking on dairy, but it's only because intolerance to dairy is really quite common. Coffee stains on the floor ask you to eliminate coffee from your diet, or really anything spilled on the floor. Rancid meat in the fridge would tell you that your body can't break down that particular meat. So again, the hint is to cut out or cut down in your diet whatever food is being featured. So the dining room is not as common in dreams, and it's generally about socializing because usually we eat with company there, but it can still be about digestion. The living room is more difficult to pin down and depends on what else holds focus. So if we're in the living room watching TV, it points to a gift of clairvoyance, which is the special ability to see spirits or images transmitted from spirit. The fireplace in the living room is about your emotions. Or it could be about your circulatory system. So this is a very common theme also in dreams. Are you trying to light the fire? That's excellent. It shows you're kindling a passion that's good for your heart. Moving up the stairs, you might notice a problem with the fourth step. Since the stairs represent your spine, this would tell you there's a problem with your fourth vertebrae. And remember, a focus on physical problems makes the dream about your physical body. If there are no problems, then moving upstairs is about activating your intellect or your spiritual nature, like rising up. Now we enter a bedroom. So I digress here to share a story that Michael shared with me. On one occasion, when he asked a class what a bedroom symbolized and then prompted them to think about what goes on there, an elderly gentleman shot up his hand like an overeager child. And when Michael pointed to him, he stood up and with a puzzled look and a frown, he said, "Oh, I used to know, but I've forgotten now," and sat back down. Everyone laughed, and years later, Michael is still laughing about this. So a bedroom can symbolize reproduction, since that is one activity connected with it. And it can also symbolize spiritual activity, since we do spiritual things while our body sleeps. In the latter case, the bed is typically in an unusual location, like maybe the living room or in the water or on a raised platform. The raised platform is a dream technique for indicating your higher purpose. And if we leave the bedroom, we might go up into the attic. This location is about your spiritual nature, since it's the highest room in the house. It can also be about your brain or mental activity. And the basement, because it's below ground level, is about your subconscious mind or repressed issues. It's below our awareness. So we have a call from April. April, thanks for calling in.
Hello, April.
Hi, hello. Thank you for taking my call. I have two dreams. The first dream is a friend. It's really short and simple, and hopefully it won't give you too much trouble. She dreamt that she was actually a dishwasher. She was an inanimate object, and someone placed a cup in the top rack of her dishwasher, and it felt kind of arousing. Like that's the takeaway emotion that she left with. I wondered if you had any ideas on that.
Do you have any other information about the cup?
I don't know what it was made of. She didn't say glass, so I don't know if it was a coffee cup. I don't know what color it was, unfortunately.
So you might ask your friend if she remembers. I don't know if it's a she, but if she remembers anything else about the cup, and that might help give a clue about this. I would say that it's about cleansing whatever that is, probably flushing it out of her life in some way, and that will be enlivening and exciting for her.
Oh, that's very good. That's interesting. Thank you for that.
She was the dishwasher in the dream.
She was, yeah. Isn't that interesting?
And so I find it interesting. Dishwashers have cycles that you put them on. So, and the cup also could represent, and I've only know this because I've seen it in other dreams, can represent the womb and actually the entryway to the womb. So I'm not sure what age the dreamer is, but I have a feeling it's about coming to the end of her reproductive cycles.
Interesting. She's a bit younger, so, she's, I think, in her 30s now, so I don't know.
Has she just had a baby recently?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll ask her about it. I'll tell her. Thank you so much for that. Another dream, I'm cutting the ties right now with my mother, and I had a dream. It was really long. I'll just condense the most confusing parts are the ones that I'll present to you. I was warning 4 girls not to go into this house or this clubhouse because there were like bullies or a gang inside. But I went inside, and when I went inside the house, I turned into kind of a wimpy guy I was also homosexual. I became a wimpy gay guy in this dream. That's how I described myself. And one of the bullies saw me and accused me of sleeping with his girlfriend, who I did not, obviously, because that wasn't my orientation. So I started running. I tried to go out the bedroom window. It reminded me of my parents' room, so I'm sure this is tied to that. Out the bedroom window, and there was an air conditioning unit in the window. The bully climbed up the outside of the house, pulled me out of the window, and I hit my head on the concrete. I'm watching it third perspective now. I hit the top of my head on the concrete, and he started smearing dog poo on my face, and the dog was there and eating the poo. And that's the first part of that dream.
Okay, so let's see. Can you give that to me one more time? So you're with 4 girls, and they don't want to go inside the clubhouse, but you go inside.
Right.
And
I warned them. I wasn't with them. I just saw them coming, and I was like, don't go in here. And they were like, okay. So they walk away, and I go into the house, and I become gay and a man, and I felt very weak and wimpy, and I got accused of doing something I didn't do, which was sleeping with the man's girlfriend, and I tried to escape out the bedroom window, but he caught me, and I hit the top of my head on the concrete. Oh, and he started smearing feces on my face, and the dog ate it. Oh, but then he started easing up, and it endeared him to me, and I was like, oh, I see the good in you when he slowed down.
So let's see. So the 4 girls, 4 is about like limitation. And so this feels like it's about the way you limit your femininity. And Heidi, do you want to?
I was just now when I interpret dreams, I always ask my guides because, but this is what they're saying is it's the feminine energy. It's definitely 4 symbolizes your limitation, and also the clubhouse. You feel like this is you're not very good at the all girls club. I'm not sure if you see that in waking life. And when I say not good, is you don't feel comfortable with it. And even when you go into the clubhouse, you're a man, which shows as well as you're more comfortable with your masculinity, but you feel like you're a wimpy man. And what the guides say about that, now I'm not sure about the exact symbols, but they say that you're limiting your feminine side, and it is affecting your masculine side also. By the fact that you feel weak, you don't feel complete. You as you say, you're a homosexual man, but you feel very frail and wimpy. And I'm not sure what the dog would represent in that dream, though. Susan, what would you say?
So the dog would be about like our instinctual self. But I want to go back to the limitation and the clubhouse and the sort of, feeling like you don't belong in the club. It's been picked up from your mom. And so that's part of what Cutting the Ties is working on for you. And the clubhouse also could represent your mother's womb, being, that you picked up these issues actually going back to your time in the womb before you were born.
And this is a really good dream to have while you are cutting the ties. So this is a very positive dream because even though that you felt very wimpy and stuff, it's just showing you that you are now addressing those issues, and that's why you're having that dream. So there's nothing in this dream that is negative. It's almost like a reminder. This is what you're processing. And I would say also that the dog poop is the elimination, and the fact that it's being smeared on the face. It's you're finally seeing the face of that and releasing it. Yeah,
I think it's good. Also about like taking crap from your mom.
Yeah.
and coming out the window, that's also about birth. That's also a symbol for birth.
Oh man.
Do you remember your birth? Or was it a traumatic birth from what your parents had told you or anything?
No, I don't know very much about my birth, and even if my mom said that I was fast and the doctor had to catch me, and unfortunately I don't believe everything my mother says.
Okay.
So I don't know if that part is even true, but that's all I know about it, which is interesting. The second part of that dream, though, it continued on, and I was suddenly in San Francisco. I had friends in San Francisco, and two of them were working on a creative project, and I was admiring what they were doing. They didn't talk to me very much, so I know that that's a symbol that they were probably really my guides in the dream. But they were working on something, and I was admiring what they were doing. And someone walked up to me and said, "Would you like to contribute?" And I said I didn't think that I could bring in the $1,300 that they expected from my contribution. And so we started brainstorming with me something that I could do that might be valuable to the group. And we decided that I could embellish baby clothes. I was looking at a navy baby shirt or something, and it had embroidery up the side, and I was thinking that I could make like appliques. And I asked him what color he thought that the San Francisco crowd would like the most, and he said purplish brown. And,
Purplish brown, okay.
And then we discussed how much we would charge, and he was like, well, I was thinking $25 to $40, and he was thinking $10 to $25, and I was like, ooh, 10 is way too low. So 25 was what I kind of settled on in the dream, and that was it.
So let's see. So I want to go back just quickly to the another piece of the earlier part that you shared with us about the female partner, how the guy accuses you of having an affair with the female partner.
Yeah,
his female partner, right? And that I think is about. Let's see. You're listening to So You Think You're Awake. I'm Susan, and this is Heidi, and we'll take a short break.
Okay, listen up. This is important. Do you know your life purpose? Are you psychic? Do your dreams predict your future? Are you one of the X-Men? Your dreams give the answer to 3 of these questions. Find out which 3 by attending Michael Sheridan's Dream Workshop in Seattle on September 26th and 27th. Register at dream-analysis.com. St. John, New Brunswick, October 3rd and 4th.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
Are you feeling stuck? Are you trapped in the same old patterns of negativity, fear, or self-doubt? I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts, and I can help you to finally change those old patterns so you can move ahead at last. You may have already tried to change these patterns yourself, maybe with therapy, meditation, or sheer willpower. Certainly these can have benefits sometimes, but they don't always get to the root of what's holding you back. Now is the time for you to break free of the things that keep you stuck, so you can realize your true radiance. Find me on the web at true-radiance.com.
Get your smile on with Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake. I'm Susan Pullen. I'm here with Heidi Brooke, and we're taking your calls on 425-373-5527. So let's talk about a dream. We have a dream from a caller called The Antique House, and Heidi's going to read that for us.
Okay, so this is a female dreamer, and it starts off, we are living in a beautiful antique house. I'm looking at a very large bedroom that doesn't have any windows. The room is big enough that 3 queen-size beds fit comfortably in the room. I'm thinking, wow, we have enough room for my mom and sister's family and others to sleep in the room. Off the room is a very large bathroom, which has beautiful toilets and sinks. But a toilet is moved over next to a sink, which looks weird, and the area where I thought the toilet should be is now a shower. There are several showers in the bathroom. Everything is working great and looks new. I woke up thinking this was a very strange dream.
Now, we have an interpretation of that dream from Michael.
The antique house. Okay, I like this dream. Well, of course, I like most dreams, but I like what this dream is about. This dreamer is actually cutting the ties with her mom, and we see that with all the showers, and especially the emphasis on the showers in the bathroom. But I'll come back to that. The first part is the part that's probably puzzling everybody. And she says that she lives in a beautiful antique house, and the antique house is a reference to her age. Now, she's not going to like this, but that's okay. It's understandable when you understand the context of why. She's looking at a very large bedroom, so this is to do with her body. A very large bedroom that doesn't have any windows, and this has come up a few times on the dream before, on the show before, and represents the womb because of the no windows, and also because she says it can fit 3 queen-size beds into it. So this is clearly referencing the womb because it's a part of her body where other people can sleep, which is exactly what happens. The baby develops in the womb, so essentially another human is sleeping inside your body. And why then the reference to the age? And this is where it's interesting. It's because the dreamer thinks, or at least has the idea, that she may be too old to have children. So the dreamer is saying, no, you're not. Not only can you have one child, you can have more than one child. That's why there's 3 beds in the communal area. And it also emphasizes a number of times that everything is in really good order, in good working order, despite the age of the place. So what else have we got? Why does the mom come up and the sisters and family? It's because she's cutting the ties, but it's not only because she's cutting the ties, she needs to cut the ties. So the dream is reaffirming this is the correct thing for you to do. Cut the ties with your mother. Your sister's very like your mother. That's why she's in there too. And there could even be then a need to cut the ties with your mom to have a better relationship with your sister. Or maybe your sister is next in line for you to cut the ties with. We won't know till you get to that point. But the fact that you mention them and then immediately mention the bathroom says you need to eliminate issues with regard to them. And here it's really important because you're saying your mother and your sister and family can sleep in those beds. So that means that until you eliminate or cut the ties with your mom, they're going to block, they're taking the position that will be used for a child. So they're going to block your ability to conceive a child or carry a child. So super important that you do that. And also because you're cutting the ties and the rest is all about toilets and showers and lots of showers. So it's saying there's a lot of elimination needs to be done here. And it's not physical elimination. It's psychological elimination of issues concerning your mother. So it's actually really a nice dream when we know that the dreamer is seriously thinking about getting pregnant at a late stage and wondering whether it's a good idea to do that, and even more, is she capable of it? This dream is saying yes. It's a green light from your higher self saying, we've kept your body healthy. You can still do this, and you can have more than one. So very good dream. Oh, one last thing, of course, she mentions queen size beds. So the Queen reference says the dreamer is a spiritual leader. Now she already knows this, but it also has a hint at the type of child she can raise. So she's also thinking of bringing a child into the world, but hoping to bring somebody special into the world that is a teacher herself or himself. So the dream is backing that up and saying yes, indeed, that's definitely the case.
So we mentioned at the beginning we'll be talking about lucid dreams today. Lucid dreams are dreams where you know that you're dreaming inside the dream. You can learn to lucid dream yourself with just a little practice. And here's something you can try. Check for fluidity in your day. by practicing checking the time on the clock or trying reading something. So the practice is that at a regular interval, like every hour during the day, you would look at the clock, look away, and then look back and see if the time is still the same. And if it's still the same, then you're probably not dreaming. But if the time has suddenly changed, or if the words you were looking at, like a newspaper headline, have changed, then you're probably in a dream. And after repeating this enough, you can build this skill of being able to know inside the dream that you're dreaming. So what you do when you become lucid is up to you. Ideally, you can analyze your dream right there in the dream and accept the healing or the guidance that it's offering. Many people like to fly when they realize they're dreaming. It just feels so free. And a friend of Michael's likes to rob a bank. It's true. Michael tells him that one day he's going to read about him in the newspaper screaming, "I thought I was in a dream," as he's being hauled away by the police.
You might get away with it.
Yeah. So for more about lucid dreaming, I interviewed Jaime Dyson and Katy Curtis, who've been practicing lucid dreaming and astral projection for years. We've mentioned on the show before that when we're asleep, our consciousness can travel out of our body. And so astral projection is when you travel out of your body while you're still awake. So here's what Jaime and Katy had to say about their experiences with it. So lucid dreaming is when inside the dream you realize that you're dreaming. Is there anything you want to add to that definition?
Well, there's different levels of lucidity that you can reach, but that would be a basic definition, yeah, that you're aware of the dream while you're dreaming.
Okay. And so let's see, Jaime, how long have you been lucid dreaming?
Since about 2008, so it's been about 7 years.
Uh-huh. And how did you get started with it?
I've been dreaming and journaling since I was a teenager, and I actually one night kind of came across some information that I found to be pretty interesting that doesn't really need to be touched on here because it's just kind of eye-opening. And I think that reading that information kind of cracked me open, and that night I experienced like very heavy vibrations, body vibrations, from head to toe. And it was like there was a jet engine in the room. I mean, there was no questioning what was going on. And I had no clue what was happening. So the next day, I was completely baffled, and I did a bunch of research. And apparently this is the beginning of astral projection. So for me, it was kind of like, it was like, oh yeah, the vibration state, and I thought, well, gosh, that's clearly what was going on. And I did a ton of research because I was just so fascinated. And so I kind of got into lucid dreaming kind of through the back door in terms of experiencing that in terms of like projecting, and then finding out that lucid dreaming was kind of a little like kind of ancillary or kind of, compatible with it. And so I learned it a little backwards, but yeah.
Great. And Katy, how long have you been lucid dreaming, and how did you get started?
My story is a little bit different because I remember having my first lucid dream as a young person, maybe, I don't know, like 12 years old or so. And I've always just been able to kind of get in the lucid state naturally. And then when I started realizing that there are techniques and there's people out there that cultivate it as an ability, then that made it stronger. But for a long time, it would just occasionally happen naturally without me, working on it consciously.
And Katy, what benefits have you found in lucid dreaming, or how have you worked with it in your life?
That's a big question. Lots of ways. I guess I started out just having fun in this space. Like a lot of people will just fly, so I spent many lucid dreams just flying around and enjoying it and seeing where I could go with it. And then as I learned more about the possibilities that are available to you in that space, Then I started trying things like looking for dream guides, so you can find guides in the dream, guide characters, and ask them questions about your life or about people in your life.
And how would a person do that inside the dream?
Oh, good question. So I think you guys have probably talked on the show about how to identify a guide more or less, but one thing you can do is look for someone who's in some sort of position of authority or something like that.
Like, say, a police officer in the dream.
Sure. Any character that has a title, right? Or you can just call out. Like, I'll do this a lot, just calling out to the dream and just being like, I would like to meet with my guides, or, insert other request, but yeah.
And can you give us an example? What happens in the dream when you make a request to meet a dream guide?
Sometimes nothing, but sometimes. Jamie, you should talk about this one. Jamie has good stories about meeting the guides.
So for me, it was really just manifesting things in the beginning. I was so fascinated with manifesting just in general, and so I remember very vividly manifesting a puppy and other things, and there it was this real puppy, and it's so real. And so one time I got lucid, and I always sort of knew that if I had, asked to see my guides or asked to kind of go, and I knew deep down that something would happen. And so I hadn't done it yet, it had been many months. And so finally I just said, well, I got lucid, and I said, take me to the beach. I want to go to the beach, and nothing happened. And I got so angry, and I was so frustrated in the dream that I threw a cup that I was holding, which was a Starbucks cup, and I threw it against the wall. And I said, you know what? Let's do this. And I just said, you know what? And I just closed my eyes, and I said, I want to meet my guides. I want to meet my guides. I want to meet my guides. And all of a sudden, there was these two figures there. I mean, clear as day, these two men, and they were kind of embracing me. And it was I could feel them it was just so real, okay, here we are. And one of them, and I was very concerned, I was kind of very, excited. And so he said, it's okay, calm down. We're here now, it's fine. And I said, I'm sorry, but I can't do this. And I just forced myself to wake up because I was so scared. And actually in the room, in my bedroom, which, as Katie knows, happens quite frequently, there was just this lights and energy. And it was just probably one of my most impactful experiences, was contacting those two guides, which to this day is probably one of the most impactful things that's happened to me.
And do lucid dreams for you have a different kind of a quality? It sounds like there's a lot of a felt body sensation, or a little different quality from a regular dream, maybe?
Yeah, I think too, Katie can touch on that more too, because she's actually more proficient than me in lucid dreaming. But for me, yeah, it's definitely a completely different ballgame. Dreams, we all have our dreams that are pretty vivid, but to me, it's pretty starkly real when you can get to a certain state in lucidity.
Anything you do, any intention you set, or any action that you take can often be magnified in the lucid dream realm. So something that I like to try to do is meditate or do yoga in that space. And it's really interesting, especially the yoga, because it is this full body, you're doing downward dog, and it's you've just gone on a roller coaster or something. Your whole body is just falling forward and spinning sometimes. So yeah, I definitely have an intensified physical experience sometimes. And as Jamie mentioned, yeah, the visual in that space is really crazy. You see things so clearly sometimes. One time I was moving really fast, flying around, and then I realized I wasn't really looking very closely at anything around me, so I decided to slow the whole dream down to a snail's pace and look at the dreamscape as I was going. And just seeing how it was created, it looked like I was in a computer world or something.
Did you see it coming together, forming as you were moving through it?
Yeah, it's really incredible watching the visionary state as it's in progress consciously.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So, Jamie, how did you learn to lucid dream?
Yeah, so I after I had that experience, I did tons of research. I mean, I spent so many hours on the internet and books and everything I could find. I read, and or sometimes I'd flip to the chapter on how to tell me how to do it. But then, so basically, I spent months. What I did was I would do reality checks, and it occurred to me that you need to have a reality check be really impactful throughout the day. You need to realize that ask yourself, are you dreaming? This is the process. And so I needed something that would trigger me to do that throughout the day. And so I bought a watch online that would actually vibrate every hour. And I wore it every day, all through the day and through the evening, even in the night. And when it would vibrate, I would actually stop what I was doing wherever I was and look at my hands, like they say to look at your hands. And I would kind of flip them around and then say, am I dreaming? Look around. And then so you do that enough during the day, you'll start doing it, the theory is, during the night and during your dreams. And sure enough, it did work. I did that. I also did, setting my alarm for early in the morning. I know Katie and I both have done that. I feel like for me, it was, I kind of had to find the time. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 6 in the morning. And then waking up, making yourself wake up fully and then kind of go back to sleep can put you into a more of a conducive state for that kind of experience. And then, and sometimes even just looking for dream signs. I mean, I know I did that a little bit in the beginning. Like I would realize that I dreamt of going to Las Vegas frequently. And so, but I wouldn't really go to Vegas that often in waking life. So if I was in Vegas, then I knew that I need to kind of pause and take a moment.
So that reality check process is the developing the habit of asking, am I in a dream? Am I awake?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, you do that enough in your waking life. You do that in the dream. And sure enough, you do.
And Katy, I know you got started lucid dreaming very naturally, but what did you do to help develop your skills?
What I always tell people is to keep a dream journal, kind of to help the reality check process. If you can become familiar with what makes up your dreams, like Jamie said, the common places, or for me, I often become lucid when I'm driving a car and the pedals don't work. And I just say, oh my God, I'm in a dream, obviously. So just things like that, just becoming aware of what tends to happen in your dreams so that you just get in the habit of saying to yourself, oh, I don't think this is real. And then you can try flying or doing something like that and see if it works.
And so you mentioned flying in dreams a couple times. Are there other things that people commonly like to try in lucid dreams that our listeners might like to try when they're getting started?
I read once that women will most commonly have sex in lucid dreams, and men are more likely actually to fly.
Huh.
So that's like the beginner phase, I guess, flying and sex. But then you can go beyond that. Ideally, you get beyond that.
And I know for me, like, I don't have a lot of experience with lucid dreams, but when I get lucid in a dream, oftentimes I wake up right away. Like that will bounce me out of the dream. Was that an experience that you had early on?
Yeah, that's really something you cultivate, is being able to maintain, because it's a threshold state and it's very unstable. So one thing that people recommend that I found helpful is to count to 10 or something, because you get in that state and you're really excitable and like your physiological responses are all shooting up, and that's what wakes you up, I think, part of it. So just kind of calming yourself down and being like, okay, I can do this, count to 10, breathe, that helps. Oh, looking at your hands is a classic. They look really funny in a lucid dream state.
Do they?
Yeah, mine look like they're melting, or they're becoming more and more malformed as I watch them.
What have you noticed about your hands when you were developing that habit to look at your hands, Jamie?
Yeah, the same thing. Like one time they were on backwards, and I was kind of like, okay, clearly this isn't. Yeah. I think another thing for that too is to kind of have a goal before you go to sleep. Kind of like, okay, if I get there, this is what I'm going to work on. Because when you get there, you get so excited. If you don't have kind of some intention beforehand, you can get a little lost and kind of sidetracked.
And Jamie, you had mentioned to me also like living mindfully as a way of helping to develop the habit of being lucid. Can you say more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think since I've done all like the kind of technical things, I think really the common thread that's remained with me, because I don't have the opportunity to really get lucid as much these days because I have small children. But what I do find is I do still get lucid at least a couple times a month, because I do have that mindfulness during the day, to kind of like look around and kind of check in and see, is this a dream? Is it not? And to kind of just, again, have that extra eye on your waking life can, I think, really just be really impactful to your dream life.
What other guidance do you have for people who are learning to lucid dream or thinking about lucid dreaming?
Yeah, you talked about mindfulness. If it suits you, mindfulness meditation, I feel like will really increase your lucidity, just because you are checking in and dropping into the present moment more. If you can get in the habit of doing that so often that you're doing it in the dream, it would be helpful.
Jaime, anything else?
I don't know. I think that lucid dreaming and especially astral projection can really just open people's eyes to the real nature of reality. And it's one thing for people to say, oh, there are other dimensions, or there are other places, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. That depends on you, but it's quite another thing to experience it. And so for me, it's been truly life-changing, the practice in itself. And yeah, you kind of can never look at things the same way, and you sort of have a little less fear in life and have a little bit more humor, I think, too.
Can you say more about your experience with astral projection?
Yeah, for about like a good part of a year, I was doing it rather regularly, and again with a good dose of fear behind it as well, because it is very starkly real. And there was times where I would wake up, or kind of what I would do is become lucid and then say, okay, I want to project from this state. That's kind of how you can use lucid dreaming to do that. Like Katy said, you kind of shout to the ethers. Okay, you kind of ignore what you see and just sort of more go inward and say, okay, I'm ready to project, or I want to have the attention to project or go out of body, or whatever you want to call it. And many times I would sort of go somewhere, and when you open your eyes in a new place and it's so real, and you hear voices and people, and one time I was, and a lot of times you can't move, like there's kind of this process where you can't move, like it's kind of like you're moving through honey. And so there was a lot of times I would get so afraid, and then I'd hear voices like that. One time when somebody said, okay, she's here. And I said, okay. And there's a lot of times I said, okay, I'm not ready for this. Just get out. But yeah, so I think moments like that can just, it's pretty much it, I have no question about that there's other stuff going on. So it's pretty impactful for me. And I think it can really open people's minds and change the way they see the world.
And can you say more about how it's influenced your philosophy or your view of life, or your how you see the world works?
Yeah, I guess, for me, I think for a lot of people out there, I guess for all of us, there's this sense of aloneness that can happen, no matter how new agey or spiritual you get. You can feel like, what's going on out there? You look to space, you look to inner work, but then to actually go and realize and have that nobody's going to take that away from me, that I've seen these places, and nobody can shake that from me. And so there's a strength in that, I think, that there's more to it than just what we see. And so I think that can just give yourself a lot of strength and a lot of clarity on kind of what's maybe going on. I don't know. That's kind of a big question. I think probably personal to each of us.
Katy, can you speak to astral projection, like an experience that you've had?
Yeah, when you go into the astral projection space, it's similar to a lucid dream, but quite a bit more vivid and intense. And the characters that you meet seem much less like characters and more like actual external entities. So, one experience that I had was very interesting. Actually, Michael helped me to understand that one, because I went straight from you typically go straight from waking into a state of deep relaxation, and then you enter that sort of hypnagogic state where you're hearing things and your body is tingling, vibrating, and then you'll move into a different visionary space. From there, I had at first a quite frightening encounter with a woman who I interpreted as being like a witch or something, feeling like she was invading my body. And I managed to, I did an energy technique called grounding, and basically started praying. I was so scared in that moment. And that got her away from me, and we shifted into a new space where I met someone who identified as a guide. And again, in the astral projection space, it's so much more clear. Like it was so clear the way that he explained who he was. He told me his name. He told me about, who I've been through the lifetimes, and different other guides that I have. Things like that. The reason I say Michael helped me is because he helped me to understand that the guy that I met was Irish, and even a funny expression that he had said, which was, I think it was, keep your ear to your mouth. He said, "Oh, that's funny. That's the exact English translation of a Gaelic phrase." Mm-hmm. And so that helped me to do the research. I'm a big proponent of going online and researching this stuff that you get in there, because it's really, dreams are this way too, but I feel like even more so you're in touch with like a collective unconscious in there. And so I can't even tell you how many times I've gone online to look up something that I encountered in a lucid dream or an astral projection experience, and found it there, found things that I didn't consciously know.
So thank you, Jaime. Thank you, Katy.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
You're listening to So You Think You're Awake. Our phone number is 425-373-5527, and our phone lines are still open for a few more minutes if you have a question for Heidi or a dream or a question for me. And we'll be back with more dream interpretations after this short break.
Have you had a puzzling dream, a nightmare, or a dream that has stayed with you since childhood? Michael Sheridan here. If you're a regular listener to my show, and I sincerely hope you are, you have a good idea of the valuable advice your dreams give on relationships, career, life purpose, and much more. But what you hear on the show just barely scratches the surface compared to what you get with a full analysis. Treat yourself by having your dream fully analysed. The recorded analysis you receive is typically 20 to 35 minutes long. Go to dream-analysis.com for more. There's even a discount for KKNW listeners, and you don't even have to tell me that I sent you.
Are you wondering about your path in life? Do you have the sense there's something you're here on Earth to do, but you're not sure what that could be? Maybe you've had a major change in your life recently, and you're asking yourself, what's next for me? I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts, and I believe that each of us comes to this lifetime for a reason. Not only do we come with a specific aim for our life, we also bring with us special gifts that help us to make our unique contribution. Now is the time for you to discover your gifts and your life purpose. Now is the time for you to realize your true radiance. Find me on the web at true-radiance.com.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
Time for something different. Time for Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake. Susan Pullen here, and I'm joined with Heidi Brooke. let's see. Let's go to some dreams from our listeners. Heidi, I think you have a dream for us.
So here's a dreamer, female again. It's a recurring dream. She's had it multiple times, she says, but the theme is always the same. It starts off, one of my recurring dreams involves me being in different places, and while I'm there, I'm moving from area to area. Each time when I'm ready to leave, I realize I either left my purse somewhere and have to go back to get it or don't realize where it is. When I go back to where I think my purse was, it isn't there, and I get concerned that I don't pay better attention to keeping it with me, and that I won't be able to find it. I rarely find it and typically wake myself up, sometimes I'm aware I'm dreaming, so I don't have to deal with ramifications of not finding it.
So this is a great an example, actually, of a lucid dream, and another common thing we see with lucid dreamers, which is waking yourself up because you don't want to deal with the dream, or it's a recurring dream. You know how it plays out, and it's so you just bail out. So in this case, the dream is about the heart and emotions. So the purse indicates your heart and your emotions. And in order to move from where you are now to where you need to be, you need to use your heart. So what causes you to suppress the connection with your heart? That's the big question. Expect that your dreams are going to reveal the answer. And listening to your heart is the best way to find the next step in your life. So we have another dream.
And this dream is called the peach dress. Was at a meeting, and a woman I know who is a heavy blonde was sitting at the table next to me. I noticed she had a very bright peach-colored dress and on a piece of paper in front of her was the same color. I complimented and commented on this match.
So the interpretation of this dream is given away right off by the color peach. So maybe at some point in the future we'll feature colors on the dream, but it's indicating that the dreamer has a counseling gift. And you don't need to have a special certification to do this. The dream is validating you already have this gift, so don't doubt it. You can trust it. And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for listening.